We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Stephen Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWit, and this is the Land Academy Show.
This is episode number 2069. And today, Jill and I are talking about the mindset needed to create wealth in any business. In fact, all week, this week, the theme is, or we're going to talk about the secret recipe for success in land investing, in your land investment business specifically. I'll tell you what's going on. We're in the middle of Career Path 10. Jill and I are instructing it. And geez, it's the same thing over and over again. I see very, very similar personality traits, business habits, attitudes, questions, and just Career Path is packed full of people that have made land investment, made a a ton of success in land investment, just like Jill and I have. And we're going to share it with you all week this week in different kind of forms.
Cool.
On Monday, we already mentioned we're going to talk about the mindset needed to create wealth. On Tuesday, we'll talk about the 5 talents you actually need to create any business. They're very different. 5 separate talents. It shocks me that anybody can actually be an entrepreneur. And in the end, that's really what we'll talk about on Tuesday is you need some help. On Wednesday, we'll talk about real life examples. You know, those people in Career Path, but all this time and in the past, what's similar about them, talk about Jill and why she's successful.
Oh, great.
And then on Thursday, we're going to have some fun with this. By the way, I can't wait to see, Jill doesn't know about these topics usually before she even sits down to record. So she's learning as you are, but I can't wait to see some of her reactions and have her input on this. On Thursday, we'll talk about 5 questions you should be asking yourself before you attempt to create wealth. It's not for everybody. Like welding is not for everybody, but some people really know how to do it. And then finally on Friday, geez, this is a question that we've answered over the years a lot. Why Jill and I really survived and thrived doing this 30 years together in land investment. Each day on the show, we answer a question from our Land Academy member Discord forum, and we take a deep dive into a land-related topic by your request.
Okay. Sane and Tara wrote, I wonder if I'm going crazy to do this deal and want some insight. We always go through title and escrow, but a unique situation came our way and I want to do it, but maybe I'm crazy. It's 2 flat acres with a decrepit but lived-in mobile home near X place in North Carolina. It's right off the highway with homes and farms around it. 2 sales ago, the property was bought at a tax auction. Then it was sold to the current owner. They were able to secure a loan for the property at that time.
Wow.
And I've seen the lien and payoff paperwork, so the property's free and clear. Because of the messy title, I'd like to buy this without escrow or title insurance. It would be our first time doing this. I've got the property under contract for $5,000. Raw land is going for about $15,000 an acre in the area. Because of the previous tax auction purchase, I'm not sure it's insurable though, which brings the value down, but I'm not sure how much. Realtors have not been helpful on the property. Unfortunately, what are your thoughts? I did speak to a lawyer and he was thinking to close, he would need to go through quiet title proceedings. You know what? $5,000, hell yes. I'm like, what's to think about? I like the attorney way just to make sure, just to try to make it as professional as possible for your buyer.
I'm going to break this. This is a great question. It sounds like a great deal, and I'm already saying, yes, I think you should do it. But let's break down the issues here. Number one, when properties go to a tax auction, they are considered uninsurable from a title insurance standpoint in general. In the last probably 8 to 10 years, there's companies that have come up specializing in title insuring back tax property. So that's the good news. Here's what's weird. It was 2 sales ago, and the person before you, I guess the owner now, lent against the property. I've never heard of a lender in my life lending against property without title insurance. So my guess is maybe there is some title insurance. All that said, and you're going to figure that all out. What's the worst thing that can happen here? You buy a property for $5,000. That's worth, probably
just the land's worth maybe 25 to 30.
Yeah. It's worth a lot more than that. Let's just say 50. buy for 5, sell for 50 is kind of the Land Academy model. Of course, the realtors aren't interested in this. It's a $5,000 purchase. There's just no money in it. So this is a very astute and fantastic deal. I would continue to use the lawyer. I would close the deal, have the lawyer close the deal for you without title insurance, and then look at your options. Worst thing that's going to happen, some crazy weird thing. I highly doubt this. Jill and I have done thousands and thousands and thousands of title insurance lists deals without any single incident. I'm knocking on wood. That's not our norm now, but we have done that in the past. I would steam ahead on this and figure out what to do later.
Good. That's exactly what I said. We're doing a lot condensed. We're on the same page.
If you're experiencing less discussion with your wife, congratulations, because I've been experiencing that all week, and I'm enjoying it. It's the Steve show today, and it's almost always the Jill show. Today, we are talking about the mindset, or I guess I am, talking about the mindset needed to create wealth in your land investment business. Before we talk about the mindset, I want you to just sit back and think about this for a second. You have a certain amount of wealth right now. If you're like me in your early 20s, it's negative. It's a negative number. I was worth negative $30,000 at one point in my life, a long time ago, long before I met Jill. I think all of us, or most of us, experience this at some point by making, not smart credit card decisions and all kinds of stuff. Upside down loans and things, especially when you're young. You just don't fully understand it. So wealth is something you create for yourself theoretically. So you have a number on your head right now of what you're worth. And hopefully...
it's like a financial aura. Is yours red?
Yeah.
Is yours black? You know what I'm talking about?
Or
like
yellow.
You have a blue aura, you have a whatever aura. It's pretty, it's great, this is good. If yours is red, it's not necessarily a happy place.
If you're going to work every day, you got a little bit of debt, maybe a car payment, you're living in an apartment, by buying a house and living there for a few years, if you do it correctly, you're going to be worth in 5 years a little bit more money than you are now. Maybe you pay off a credit card because you're going to work every day. And that's really positive. As long as it's going in the right direction, you're doing okay. But if you want to create some serious wealth, like we talk about here by buying and selling land or whatever else that you want to do, there's a few ways you can do it. Wealth in general is created in only one of 3 ways that I know of. Number 1, you inherit it. Oh, good luck there. That's just pure luck. So even if I've said this in the past.
And your parents like you. There's a lot of things that could go wrong there. You could be in the well, out of the well, in the well, out of the well. Ask me how I know.
Look, when stuff's pure luck, like gambling, certain types of gambling and all, it just doesn't count.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of trouble in the past saying this to people who have inherited money. And I'm like, yeah, well, that doesn't count. That doesn't make them happy. Number 2, you can steal it. You can go out and steal a bunch of stuff and your wealth is magically increased. I don't think that counts. And number 3, you earn it, which is what we're talking about here. You can buy a piece of land for $20,000, sell it for $80,000, and now your wealth is $60,000 more than it was a month ago. And that's what this show is about. So what's the mindset needed to actually make that happen? Buy for 30, sell for 60. Number 1, you have to have some version, in my opinion, of just sheer will.
This is good, by the way. You put some thought into this today. And these are kind of like chill discussions, so I really do like it too. It's not all math and technical, so I'm able to follow along.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the co-hosting the show today, Jim.
Thank you. I'm just here. I'll be here if you need anything.
And when I say sheer will, I mean stuff like, I don't know where my next meal is going to come from. So I'll tell you this story. When I was in investment banking, we all had, and I love this, by the way, we were all in cubes, and not real cubes. They were just half cubes, because the guy that owned the company, his name was Mike, believed that we all should be working together, doing deals together, and that it's not like my deal and his deal and all of that. And it worked out really well for all of us. On the buy side, we worked together, and on the sell side, we worked together, and there was a wall in the middle of the office. But so we were all representing, on my side, the companies that are buying small companies, private equity and things like that. Incidentally, this is where I met Mark Podolsky. We worked there together. He worked on the other side. And some kid came to all of us on the buyer's rep side and said, I just bought an Escalade and it doesn't fit in my garage. And we all said, well, where do you live? Oh, I live right down the block here in the third block of wherever. And all of us looked at each other and said, how much is that? Because it was the best place in the city, in Phoenix. We all started it's led down this path of me saying finally this sentence, dude, you at your age, he was a lot younger than me, should be paying $300 a month, living in a filthy, 10-person man, no one's cleaned it in 10 years house where everybody's chipping in $300 to pay for rent and all of that. You should not be enjoying your life, and certainly shouldn't. And everybody agreed with me except him. I don't know what he's doing with his life right now, but that's sheer will. We were all of the same mindset in that company that all comes later when you're wealthy, and it did. Which leads me to my next point. Whatever you do to create wealth for yourself needs to make serious sense to you. And so much sense to you that when someone says, how do you know how to buy and sell land, Steve? I don't know. I never thought about it. I fell backwards into it. If you ask a surgeon, why did you become a surgeon? They're going to say, what kind of question is that? A good one anyway. Why are you so good on the phone, Joe? Do you even know?
Comes naturally.
What comes naturally is really the real answer. And I really don't, I'm not saying this so you can assess yourself and say, well, I'm not going to buy and sell land then. I'm not saying that, but whatever you choose to create wealth for yourself, it needs to be a natural thing. I don't know how many versions of that. There's infinite versions of that. You need to have this is my number 3 now. You need to have you need to believe in yourself to the point of absurdity. We've all met kids in their 20s. In my recollection and experience, they're mostly men, not women, who are so full of themselves and just have this unhealthy, unrealistic opinion of themselves and what's going to happen in their life. And to a certain degree, that's ridiculously annoying. If you're going to date the guy, it is ridiculously annoying.
Uh-huh.
But to create some wealth and to go through life and just not know that you're an idiot and have that kind of blind confidence, it really is helpful. I don't know how that translates to women. I'll let Joe figure it out.
Thanks. Just confidence.
I also think that you need to be...
there's such a thing there's quiet confidence.
I think later in life.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, you have all kinds of quiet confidence. I bet you didn't then.
Okay. Okay. I don't know. That's a good question.
I think that you need to catch yourself visualizing your success. Catch yourself in the middle of your terrible W-2 job or whatever you're doing in life to pay the bills. Catch yourself daydreaming. That's a really good sign. And I don't mean daydreaming to have $20 billion of wealth. I mean, what the next step is. What would it be like to not have a mortgage and just own that house that I'm in?
What would it be like to have a king-size bed tonight?
Jill and I are coming off of 6 months in an RV with a queen-size bed, and we could do a whole show on that.
What would it be like to not have to check the water level before you run a load of laundry? I could go on and on.
And we're dealing with
those are the things I daydream about right now.
Freezing temperatures we're dealing with right now. I dream about.
I love it.
This is good. You know what I'd like to do for a week is not think about utilities.
Yep.
Not think about what if the power goes out in the middle of the night and it's
water
18
burst.
degrees. Yeah, that.
Freezes.
What does a water burst look like? These are the things I daydream about.
Yeah.
Let's visualize.
What if we go to start the rig and it doesn't start?
Yes.
Yeah. All those things. That's what I daydream about. It's good.
We're on the edge of point of no return with weather in northern Montana.
Yeah.
And we're both looking at each other, agreeing, yeah, maybe it's time to skate.
not because of the sweet town or the weather or just our situation. We're going to figure this out.
And finally, I really believe this is the key to a huge component of success that no one talks about. I think you need to think of yourself as if you were actually on the spectrum, and hopefully you're not, and God bless the people who are. You need to have no emotion, and you need to go about creating wealth for yourself as if, within the limits of the law and within the limits of ethics.
And your tight community, you don't want to walk on your friends.
Here's an example of what happens Here's an example of what happens with us every day. This property's worth $22,500 to me. I know you want $40,000 for it, and I know I sent you a letter for $32,000. I looked at it all. It's worth $22,500. Please let me know. And that's it. You don't love it any more than that, hate it any more than that. It's just it's what you do. And then you pick up the phone and call the next person back who called you back and probably screamed at you or whatever else and say, this property is worth $15,800. And that's just how it is. And I'm happy to close on Thursday. I watch people, we'll talk about this a little bit later in the week, but I see people time after time after time who are very successful, specifically in career path, very, very successful, that have this mentality. This, I don't know what the correct way to call it is, but Tony Robbins makes a big deal out of this point. And he says, if you have no emotion, you're already setting yourself up to be incredibly successful. Not in your marriage. That's not going to work. But I think in business and creating wealth. So let me circle back before Jill jumps in here. You have a certain amount of wealth. It's in our household, we call it, how does that affect our balance sheet? We say that too much around here. That's my fault. You have a net worth. It's going to change. You have complete control over visualizing what that looks like next week, and the week after that, and then a year and 2 years and 10 years and finally retirement. That's the whole topic, Jill? You don't have anything to say?
It was perfect. It was great what you talking about. And I am losing my voice.
You do a lot of coaching, mostly with women. And I think you intended to do that with women, but what do you think their mindset is? And are there ones that have a really good mindset? Can you talk at all?
You know what? It ties to everything you said here. I don't have anything to change, and I certainly don't disagree with anything. I think you did a really good job. So scroll down to number 5. Yeah. It's just your number 5 is, think about business as usual. Just thinking about your business and moving on. No, I love it.
Okay.
You did a great job.
Join us tomorrow where we discuss, it's Tuesday tomorrow, the 5 talents you need to create your wealth in land investment specifically. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
We are Jack and Jill. Sorry.
Information and inspiration to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.